wall of Jesus standing by the door knocking. Everybody grew up with that painting? There's a few of you that did. And the prayer they're saying, just a minute, I forgot my glasses. Here we go. And the saying, or the idea that went behind it was, here I am, I stand at the door and knock. If anybody hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in. And of course, in Unity, we look at things more metaphysically. What is that in me? Well, it's that inner Christ, that inner divine nature that we're all a part of, saying, here I am, let me in, let me fill your life. And the idea of doors and keys and locks spoke to me real clearly one time. I was invited to speak at a gathering for the LGBTQ community. And I arrived early because I'm an early bird. I always arrive early. And I went to use the restroom to get all that done before I had to speak. And the restroom was in a different part of the building. And of course, I was early. There weren't many people there. And when I tried to leave, the door was locked. It had jammed. And I couldn't get the door open. And so I knocked. Hello, I'm here. It was a very solid room, a very solid building, and nobody could hear me. And I was in there for quite a while, and I had to go to my humor. I thought, well, this is probably payback for the centuries of how ministers have treated the LGBTQ community. And then I thought, well, from now on, I'm not going to leave home without my Swiss Army knife. And I was in there for the longest time, and finally, somehow they found me and heard me, and somehow got the door unlocked. But they were so impressed, I went there to tell them about Unity because they wanted to know who we were and what we believed. And they weren't as impressed with what I said, but how calm I was when they let me out. That I wasn't angry or upset at being in there so long. So God works in strange ways, as they say. At about the same time, I was reading a New Thought magazine, and there was an article in there by Dr. Deb Whitehouse. And the article was called 7 Things Not to Do to God. And so I took that, what she said, and I kind of unitized it. In Unity, we don't have a lot of don'ts, so I replaced the don'ts with do's. And then I kind of combined a few of them and put them in my own words, because I saw each one was a key to how to unlock the own blocks in our life that keep that divine presence from flowing in and through us in a greater, more expansive way. So the very first key, and we talk about this all the time, so I won't spend a lot of time on this one, but her don't was, don't see God as separate. See yourself as in relationship, in union with the divine. We're expressions of the divine. Jesus said, the Father and I are one. Sages through all ages have said, know yourself, know your divine nature. The Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten had a beautiful drawing of the sun, and out of the sun were all the rays, and at the end of the rays was the Ankh, like we are all a ray of the sun, a wave of the ocean. And so for this Thanksgiving month, if you're comfortable, would you repeat with me? I am grateful for the power of the presence in me. Together? I am grateful for the power of the presence in me. And if you want to direct that power then in prayer, I'm grateful for the power of the presence in me to heal, to prosper, to be shown the way, whatever it is you're praying for, direct that power. So her second one was, don't kick God upstairs. Do see the divine as right here, in and through us, in and through it all. In the 17th century, when so much of these ideas of separation came about, the church and state weren't separate. It's almost scary because you see it starting to happen again. And this is what happened back then when the church and state were together. They united their forces to intimidate and manipulate by teaching the powerlessness of separation. And then they could start to control and manipulate. So I took the don'ts out and I said, they said, first of all, the 3 that they mainly stressed was, putting God upstairs. Only God can create. Only God can work miracles. Only God can do anything. You are powerless. When, of course, just the opposite is true. Walter Starkey, who was years ago a friend of Joel Goldsmith. I'm not talking about Joel Osteen, the televangelist. I'm talking about the author, Joel Goldsmith. Have anybody here Joel Goldsmith fans? A few, you know him. Once you start, you become addicted. He wrote so many books, you can't finish them all. He said, God is inside, outside, upstairs, downstairs, right in the middle of everything. And then he added Tennyson's quote, God is closer than breathing and nearer than hands and feet. If we can only be aware of that. So if you are comfortable, again, repeat with me. I am grateful for the power of the presence in me. Together. I am grateful for the power of the presence in me. And again, then you can direct that presence through prayer, wherever you want it in your life. By the way, what do you call a book club that's been stuck on one book for years? A church. All together now, oops. So her third don't was, don't spout nonsense like I can't, but God can. Do spout in union with God, all things are possible. And when I say all things are possible, if you try to do something that's out of harmony with your purpose in this lifetime, out of harmony with what you came here to do and express, it's probably not going to work too well. But with everything that's in harmony with your life purpose, in union with God, all things are possible. And then she went on to some warped Zen. We all like the Zen sayings, but these are warped Zen. Like, can God make a stone too heavy for God to lift? Ooh, that'll keep you up all night. But God is not a being making a stone. God is the very essence, the very substance of the stone. Another one she said is, God can't steer a parked car. So where in your consciousness are you stuck? Where is your parked car that God cannot move through because it's stuck on something? If you're uncomfortable now or comfortable, repeat with me. God can only do to me what God can do through me. Together? God can only do to me what God can do through me. And then I release and let go and allow the good to flow. Together? I release and let go and allow the good to flow. Let's do that one more time. I release and let go and allow the good to flow. The older I get, the more I find that's true and why it took me so long. Don't let it take 74 years for you to get that. I hope you get it sooner than I did. Well, the fourth thing she said was, don't confuse God as a giant human being, a genie in a bottle, or Santa Claus. Anybody see God as Santa? Oh God, if I could have this, if you could do this, and could you fix that person? They're making me uncomfortable. We treat God that way sometimes. And I love what Emmett Fox said. The Lord is my shepherd, not my bellhop. Isn't that a good one? Jesus is the way shower, not the way doer. That's why when he left, he said, these things I do, you can do also as well, but I got to leave so you learn how to find it within yourself. The fifth thing she said, and I'm not sure I agree with this or not, but she said, don't call God it. That's saying he or she is better than it, because though God is not a man or woman, you can't have a relationship with an it. Well, as a Gemini, I can both agree and disagree. Heck, I can argue with myself as a Gemini. That's the beauty of being a Gemini. All three, it, he, she, feel separate to me. So call God whatever you want, as long as it doesn't give you the feeling of separation. I'm reading a really interesting book. Hold on to your seats when I tell you what it is. It's by Christopher Bach, who's a PhD, and he wrote a book called LSD and the Mind of the Universe. Yes. I know I'm not tripping on LSD, but it does sound interesting. And what he did is, under very controlled circumstances, he's working with, as many scientists are right now, to expand the mind and our idea of reality through LSD. And he said, and this is fun, beyond all the categories of he or she, yet infinitely more than any of it. Our finite language simply does not allow us to speak with precision about the infinite. All discussion of God is like shining a flashlight on the stars. And I love that. We try to shine a flashlight on the stars that we can't comprehend. And his word for God now is the beloved, my beloved, which is interesting because it's similar to the Song of Solomon. And all the mystics of the world call God my beloved. So, interesting. Okay, the sixth thing, don't fence God in or out. In other words, don't make your God too small or too powerless. Anytime we turn to the outer world as our source and substance, what we're really saying is I don't believe in my own divine nature. I'm not powerful enough, so I have to rely on something out there. And God is not, and then Nancy, this is a word that's, you have to have gum in your mouth to say, God is not an anthropomorphic God. Let's all say, oh, I said it, all right. She had a bet with whether or not I could say that. Let's say that together, anthropomorphic. Put gum in your mouth, you'll be able to say it better. Anyway, which simply means God is not a being out there separate from you, but a presence and the power. Your very essence is of God. And it's the same with the devil. Someone once said, never get stuck behind the devil in a post office line, for the devil can take many forms. Okay. And the only locks are our own ideas of separation. That's the only thing that blocks it. That's what in the sense what the devil is in us, that part of us that doesn't give it. Separation thinking, beliefs and lack and limitation and powerlessness. When Scripture says you've been given dominion, that doesn't mean dominion about controlling others or other things, but dominion over your own state of mind, your own belief system, your own thoughts. Some days I don't have dominion over all that. I let the world have dominion over it. And then there are times when I take charge of my thoughts, my beliefs, my feelings. Okay, so another block. Emotional unprocessed pain bodies. Anybody here have a pain body that hasn't been fully processed? Altogether now, oops. Locks the doors to love's presence. How can the divine move through you with feelings of unworthiness, powerlessness, or victim consciousness? How can God get through that if we have that blocking the way? The fourth block is pushing in the opposite direction of the flow. Anybody here try to push, you want to go here, but the flow is taking you there, and you fight against it. No, I don't want that in my life. No, I don't want that to happen. Go with the flow. It will take you where you need to be. It just may go in a spiral before you get there. When we have that consciousness of union, the beliefs and the thoughts and the feelings of union, there is no locked door. It's a revolving door, and there are no need for any keys to open it. So I invite you, especially this month of Thanksgiving, to use the key of gratitude to unlock the door. Gratitude expands and opens every area of our life. If you're comfortable, repeat with me one more time. I am grateful for the power of the presence in me. Together, I am grateful for the power of the presence in me. And then we can direct that thought wherever we want it to go. Let's do that now in prayer. Oh, we are grateful for the power of the presence right here, right now, moving in and through each of us, in and through each life, bringing forth that flow of abundance and prosperity, moving in through our physicality, bringing forth a rejuvenation of every cell in our body with the healing power of the divine, healing and restoring. Moving in and through all relationships, bringing forth that comfort of harmony and love and peace between each one. moving in and through us in whatever way we desire. We call it forth. And then we allow the good to flow by going with the flow, by letting go and blessing what is. And we do pray this in the nature of the living Christ. And so it is. Amen.